Leah. Hi,
Hi.
Megan.
Hi, Dana.
It's so great to see your faces, and I'm glad that the audio is working. Okay, my question for Leah is what inspired you to open your boutique in STL, St. Louis?
Oh, amazing. It was this, thank you, great question. The St. Louis customers. So I moved home because my grandmother, who I'm named after, got ill. And I had a bunch of samples from one of my designers. I had no intention of opening a boutique at this moment, by the way. At this point, I was just working in the industry with people who are making things. And because I worked in the industry with people making things, I ran into Nina, the maker of Skiff International, and she and a Live magazine, Elizabeth Tucker, were starting St. Louis Fashion Week. They were trying to give create this community to support that. And so I saw Nina, "Oh, hi Nina, it's Leah, da da da." And she said, "We're gonna do a pop-up. Do you have some samples to sell?" And I said, "Okay, sure, yeah." And I brought them down and women bought everything we had. I had to go to my car and get more stuff. And they all left me their emails. So I had a great day. And I was just thinking to myself, there are people here who want this. Because what I had incorrectly believed before was that the kind of clothing I did, the kind of style I promoted, was not people's cup of tea around here. I'd only lived in St. Louis till I was 18. And then I went to college and I never, returned to live. And so I had that message of being a kid and being like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
I don't
That was my own fear or stuff or whatever. And so when I saw that that just wasn't true, there were people who didn't know me, who literally just showed up and were into it. I was like, okay, so St. Louis can support this. They're hungry for it. There isn't a competition for this. There's not another option for this kind of look. And my family is here. And, at the end of the day, not even at the end of the day, at the end of about 35 years or so, I realized chasing my dreams was a blast, and I would not chase them in my 20s and early 30s, but I got to a point where I thought that was so much fun, but you know what? I just want to be with people who love me and who I love back. I don't want to miss the birthdays. I don't want to miss this random Sunday at church. I just don't want to miss it. So, St. Louis it is.
Very cool.
It's gonna make me cry. No, it is because I think about that sometimes. Like I've been away since I was 18 too, and it's easy until it's hard. Yeah, like my older sister moved back home this year and she wants to start a family soon. And I'm like, am I really like not gonna be there to babysit her kid if she needs to go to work? Like, really? Am I gonna do that? So yeah, I don't know. It's quite that decision is hard.
That decision is also very personal
Yeah, totally.
because there is total validity in moving away and doing your own thing. My grandparents did that, our grandparents.
Yeah.
Dana, I'm not sure where your family is from, but I
Yeah,
know
Dana,
you've lived
weigh in.
multiple places.
Weigh in. What's up with your family?
Oh my goodness. Well, oh gosh. I moved 3 times when I was a kid. Um, I think I associate the most with being from Los Angeles. And then I went to college in Boston and ended up in St. Louis after college. Didn't know anyone there, but lived there for 14 years. And really then found a home in St. Louis is the longest place I ever lived. Loved it and met so many great Midwesterners. And then 3 years ago, got called to the East Coast. There's no other way to explain why my husband and I moved. It was just we had to go. The chapter ended, and we started over. And we had such great careers in St. Louis. I loved everyone there. We were reporters at the NBC affiliate, so we had made a lot of community connections. I don't even know how to explain it. We just had a calling to leave. I had this voice that came in my head and said, I want a seat at the table. And I just forever changed from that moment. I was walking into work to do an interview that I didn't want to do. And I wanted more. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but eventually found it. So yeah, leaving St. Louis was super hard, but sometimes you're just called to start a new chapter.
Yeah. Faith over fear.
Thank you for sharing that. I did not know that part of your story.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
and now I get to through my new job, which is a PR agency, I get to meet and reconnect with so many people back in St. Louis. So it really comes full circle, and it wasn't all for naught. It was certainly so meaningful, and now I just get to connect with them in a different way, not as a journalist, but sometimes as a client or just a friend trying to help people out. And it's all about relationships.
Yeah. I love that I heard you say seat at the table. And then Megan, I feel like I have to appreciate you for this because you've given us these seats at this table. And I just think that I really identify with that. We just want a seat at the table. That's all we're asking for. And heck yeah,
Yeah.
we are finding our tables. We're
Yeah.
setting those tables.
We are the table.
One of the things I've started saying recently, because I think that it illustrates the idea of who we are pretty well, is that, I try to dress women who want to be the best dressed woman in the room, but it's being in the room, right? Like you get invited to the room. You want to look like somebody who gets into the room. Because, man, like we live in a crazy world. We have control over so few things.
Yeah.
But if we can get into those rooms, we can start to move the needle. And heck yeah, women, let's do it.
Yeah, I remember one time when we were working together, I think you told me a story about like, I get dressed in the morning to go check the mail because what if I go outside and somebody's walking by who like is somebody and they, it's either I'm in my pajamas and I look like an ogre or I'm like dressed in my nice, launch clothes and then they are attracted to me and they ask me, how's your day? And then now there's a potential connection.
I love style. It's just like one of the gifts, and for me, sometimes that can be on occasion sequins. It also can often be a lot of black because it just keeps life easy and then I can keep things moving and I feel good about what I'm wearing. And some days it's things that are distressed and beat up. I actually just had a conversation with a wonderful woman yesterday, Judy. She was telling me how every Friday they do a thing about shoes. What shoes are you wearing? And so she tries to get new shoes, which is great to feature new things. She was saying, it's hard when you only wear them once. And I said, do you mind if I offer a thought on that? It's like, no, please do. And I was like, I really believe in showing an example of wearing things multiple times. First of all, it's better for our environment and our world. Second of all, it's easier for everyone's pocketbook. And third of all, some things get more beautiful with wear. I have a pair of cowboy boots that looked fantastic the first day I wore them. Now they are rugged and worn in and beaten, and there's a little tear on the side, and I think they look amazing.
Yeah, that's how they're supposed to be.
So yes, I do like to be dressed, but my version of that, it's style, right? Like it's my version. It's like feeling the of what I've got on.
That's how I am about makeup. I'm like, I love makeup, and I don't know if it was the TV personality in me, but I even liked it when I was a teenager. I would just play around, and so I wear makeup for me. Like some people, they see me at the grocery store and they're like, "Oh my gosh, your makeup looks amazing," and I'm like, I just like doing it. Like I just enjoy it. It's just so fun for me.
Is it like art to you? Do you feel like you're playing? Yeah, I get that.
It's like art, and it makes me feel good. I just have fun with it. I truly enjoy it. Like drinking my coffee and putting on makeup. And sometimes I have little competitions with myself to see how fast I can do it, because some women say to me, "Oh, I don't have time for that." And I'll be like, I know you do. I know you have time, because I have two kids and my husband goes to work early in the morning, so it's just me in the mornings with my kids, and I can do my makeup in 3 minutes. Like full, I mean full, and I time myself and I do it. So I used to teach some just for fun, like some of my coworkers how to do it. I would take them to Target or Sephora or whatever their budget was, and not do what I would do, but ask them how do you like to do your makeup? Do you like to wear eyeliner or no? And most of them would say no. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Let's do it. So how you feel good. And it was fun. Not as a
Yeah.
business, but just to make women feel good.
Those are the two things I feel like I'm always complimenting people on, like, oh my God, I love your makeup, or like, oh my God, your outfit is bomb. But yeah, if you love makeup, express yourself with makeup. But if you love clothing, like, express yourself through clothing. But express yourself somehow, though, you know?
Absolutely.
So
I was on
cool.
the prom circuit for a while. I would do so many girls' makeup for prom. And I would just like really listen to the girl to be like, what do you want to look like? And, some of them would show me celebrities, and I'd be like, okay, that's great inspiration. But at the end of the day, like, it's you. Like, nobody's
Hmm.
going to look like you. Let's look like you. And on prom night, I did this one girl's makeup who was a dancer. So, dancers, they know how to do their makeup with red lips and fake lashes. And she wanted the opposite of that for prom night. She
Oh,
wanted, she
wow.
wanted to look like, just natural, beautiful makeup. So that was super fun because I did the opposite of what she can do. It was gorgeous. I think her mom was like, is she wearing makeup? I'm like, she is. A lot of it, it looks natural. So not a professional
Well,
makeup artist, just not a professional.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, no,
well,
yeah.
you're both invited to my house anytime you want to do that.
Right. That would be a cool like TikTok series or something like that. Like take girls to Walgreens or whatever and be like,
Yeah.
pick out the makeup that you want. The same way with what is your style of clothing like for you? That's
Yeah.
something I think is like difficult to figure out.
Yeah, it's really hard to find your path. Period. Like
Yeah.
that's what I hear you saying. Figure out what is your style. When do you look best? When do you feel most confident? Where do you feel like you're having fun? Do you guys know who Kevin Aucoin is?
I don't
He
know.
was a very, very well-known makeup artist in the era of Cindy Crawford. He did makeup for
Ooh.
the big models. And he has this beautiful series of gigantic books where he has just done makeovers. And I was a little bit of a nerd as a kid, and I liked bookstores, Barnes and Noble. I would say rest in peace, but they're coming back. And
Hey,
I found these books, and he went from, like you were saying, Dana, from the red lip and the very bold fake eyelashes to what the supermodels might wear, to what a woman who is 80 years old might wear, to what a drag queen would wear, to women who wanted to look like men, to men who wanted to look like women. And it was all done through that lens of art. There was no politics about it at all. It was just like, look at all these choices. And it rocked my world. I still have the books. If I was sitting at my vanity instead of my desk, I would pull them off the shelf to show you.
that's so cool.
But it made me think of it because it helped me decide who I wanted to be. Because I didn't know,
Mm.
right? Like some days I was the sprite, the girl who like danced among the flowers.
Oh.
And some days I was the woman in the knee-length leather duster.
Yeah. No, I see both of those so clearly, and it's so cool that you could seamlessly kind of just do either or.
I think it's the theater background, right? It like
Yeah.
taught you how to put
Play
on
dress.
characters.
Yes,
Huh.
yes.
And imagination, play dress up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all fun.
Leah, I know you have designers, you said, in all 7 continents, right?
6
Oh,
of the
6,
7.
not Antarctica. That was
Not
weird.
Antarctica. I say
That
that
was
as a joke,
weird.
but it's true.
So you have designers on 6 different continents. And
Hmm.
they're all women designers too?
They're not all women, they are primarily women.
How did you find these companies?
So I worked for a showroom in New York City. It was called Ronnie Rabble.
Mm.
And we would manufacture clothing and sell it to retailers across the US. We mainly sold to little boutiques like Launch, but we also sold a little to Saks, a little to Nordstrom's. And as the designer, Ronnie, was deciding she wanted to retire, we didn't know who was going to take over the design aspect of it. So we had the infrastructure, we had stores we did business with, we had sales reps, we had showroom space, we had warehouse space. We just needed great design. So we started going to Europe to find brands that were not in the United States, and we would offer to represent them. We became their agents. And so it started with a line called Lauren Vidal from France. And that was the first one I worked with. And yeah, it just continued. So we would do the shows, which the big show in New York is called Coterie. The big one in Vegas is Magic. Maybe you've heard of it. LA Market would have a show, but they also have the Garment District and the LA Mart and the New Mart downtown. So when we're at these venues, you just meet all kinds of people. And your stores will tell you, hey, do you know about this? We love these people. Because some of those stores wanted us to bring them over because it would be easier for stores to buy from us than it would be to go direct. So over the experience of doing those things, the years of experience, met people, learned about lines, got relationships. I was very lucky I got to shop in Europe. One of my best memories in my life that I hope flashes before my eyes before the end of life.
To the sea.
Weird. Going to the Pret-a-Porter. Because I remember as a kid, there was a documentary called The Pret-a-Porter with Isaac Mizrahi. And I just thought that is so cool, to make it to that show. And then when I got to make it to the show, I was like, okay, my goal is that I will walk down here and somebody will know who I am. They'll be like, that's the girl from the US company that because they want to grow to the States, right? That's helpful to them. But if you have a good reputation, that's really helpful, right? And it happened. On my third trip to the Pret-a-Porter, people walked up to me and they were like, we want to do business with you, da 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 da. And I was like, oh my God. I have arrived.
Word of mouth is the best thing, Leah.
Clearly.
For sure.
So.
For sure.
Yeah, you were out there collecting business cards.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And then, okay, so that's the past, but current, I also do a lot online. I search social media. I search, there's online trade shows. Instead of playing video games, I look on my phone for clothing.
So, okay, so you kind of swap your time, exactly. Instead of doing something destructive, you kind of channel a lot of your free time towards building your business in different ways. Even you probably find some pleasure in doing that too, but
I have to. That's another lesson I've learned. Like I said, there was that period before when I was just hustling.
Yeah.
And I realized that if I'm not happy, the business suffers. So I need to make sure I'm putting my intention towards joy and things that I love. And that's the way it should be. And if it's not, then I'm doing something wrong for me.
Got you. Do you find that you have to go into the world and do fun stuff and then come back to your business? Or are you one of those people who can kind of, I don't want to say psych yourself up, but if you don't really feel like being there that day, do you just find something in it to inspire you? Or what do you do?
Oh my gosh, great question. It's kind of both. And I thought of this very specific example. Not to make this political, because I really believe people should follow their gut, and if they think they should do it, they should do it. But the truth is, the week after the election in this country, I felt depressed for about 3 to 5 days. It's depression. You wake up and I'm just I don't want to get up today. I don't want to do things. And I had an appointment on Saturday. I guess the election was on Tuesday, so we found out on Wednesday morning when we woke up, with a woman who I love, and she was bringing in her daughter-in-law to find something to wear to an upcoming family wedding. And the daughter-in-law, she had prepped me. She told me this was important for her to bring her. She really wanted to, provide her this. It was important for the daughter-in-law. And I just thought to myself, Leah, I can get up today and I can help somebody feel good about what they see in the mirror. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to pretend to be happy, because I'm not. But I'm going to be polite and do my job. And it was so much fun. And then I felt happy after I helped her. One of the things I try to do is give people the best I can whenever I'm face to face with them. I got that tidbit from the Mr. Rogers documentary, by the way.
Oh, wow.
It made an impression. He just gave everybody the best he could whenever he encountered them. And I thought, amazing. I want to do
So
that.
smart. Yeah.
I do think that there are times, listen, if the best I've got is 100%, great. If it's 85, great. If it's 25, then that's where I need to decline and stay home and do self-care. So yes, sometimes it is telling someone you're not available for something or having to apologize and saying, I just don't feel well today, because it's a moving target. Sometimes the customer's right. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes, and you have to be open to that and humble about it. Also, let them know, right? Like, I'm not canceling because you don't matter to me. I'm canceling because, like, I don't have it today. You don't want what I have today.
Yeah. So like being honest too, in a way. Just
Yeah.
not making up an excuse that's false, but just simply being honest with people. I love how you kind of shifted the focus, because I think about this a lot, but like the focus of like, I don't feel good, I feel depressed. And then you're like, wait a minute, I can serve this person and make them feel better. So that's going to be my motivation to get up today. So
Absolutely.
I love that.
And that's why we all do what we do, right? We've got gifts, we want to share them with other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do want to ask you on that note about the book, The Artist Way, and tell me about your process with that.
Yeah, so Dana, when you were talking about the makeup and how it was like play, Artist Way went right into my brain. So it's a book written by a woman who was a playwright, I believe, originally, and she hit writer's block, and it was bad. And so she gave herself this process to just sort of practice to unblock herself. And it ended up being so successful, the book she wrote, so many people followed it, that she taught at Columbia for a while. And basically, it's very simple. It's 12 chapters. Friends recommended it to me. And they also recommended that I do it in like a book club, that you just don't read it by yourself. You read it with other people. And so every 2 weeks, a group of 4 of us girls met together. We talked about the chapter we read. And we spent about an hour. I think everybody had like 15 minutes to kind of share their thoughts. And then at the end, it was hang out as much as you want or get out of here. And it's full of things, full of ideas and concepts to wrap your head around. And it's combined with actions. So, if you're feeling blocked, for example, at the beginning, it might talk about like, what are the voices you hear in your head when you go to do something? If I'm looking at a white sheet of paper and I'm going to start drawing, am I having a hard time drawing because I hear, that's a terrible example because I can't think of something.
Like, I can't draw. I'm not a good drawer. What am I gonna draw? The anxiety drawing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so write down those thoughts on that white piece of paper. That's like one of the things, right? And they also go through maybe where those thoughts come from, because sometimes it's stuff that somebody said to us or even in passing. We don't realize it. It's fine. It just is there. But when we can get it out and express ourselves, then it starts to crumble the bricks in that block. And then when next time you see that white piece of paper, why don't you draw on it? Why don't you draw on it with crayons? Any crayons you want. And so it really taught me about, to your question, Megan, how do I deal with these tough moments in work? Do I find joy in them? Do I avoid them? It really taught me how to practice that creative muscle. For me, that can be one of the ways that I sort of access my higher self. When you get in the zone doing something with your hand, all of a sudden, all the noise in here is gone. And now I'm in touch with my intuition. I'm in touch with my sense of faith. I feel more grounded. I'm able to do the next thing. And the more I practice it, the stronger that muscle is. I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful for that book. One of my favorite artist dates is to go for a walk and always walk on the sunny side of the street with no destination, just always picking the sunny side.
That's so cute.
I am a Pollyanna, guys. I cannot help it. Can I tell another story?
Yeah.
So Dana, Megan, and I, we talked about we're related. Our grandfathers were brothers. And my grandfather married my grandmother, obviously, Yaya Dubis. And so Megan knew her. We would see each other at her house. Our grandfathers had both passed when we were born. And so when I moved back, I spent a lot of time with Yaya Dubis before she passed away.
Mm.
She was really battling dementia and Alzheimer's. And um, anyway, so I was talking to her one day and I was doing my Pollyanna thing, but it's genuine, it's real. Like, I was talking to her about, I think it had something to do with visiting my other grandmother's grave or something, and how I felt so happy that I'd like left her flowers. And Yaya looked at me like, I'm gonna call you BS, Pollyanna. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm from the mountains of Greece. Don't give me that. Like, you brought her flowers. You're not gonna do that for me, kind of thing. And I was told her, I was like, Yaya, listen, I know that Lia Glynias is not there and she can't see me. It has nothing to do with that. Just makes me feel good to like spend time with her. And that's why I shared the story with you, Yaya, that I did that.
Well, I know who I'm calling whenever I'm having a bad day. I need a pep talk from Leah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call you out of the blue and be like, all right, I just need 30 seconds of pep talk here.
Right. The best 30 you got. Give it to me.
You can have it, cuz. Danny, you too.
Make you like a call-in service.
I mean, technically you could call the store, I guess, but after a certain number of calls, I would ask you to buy something. I can't tell you how many store owners have told me their business is like therapy for decades, right? Because women are together in that space and they're undressing and they get in, vulnerable and they reveal, and it's like the hairdresser
Yes.
or the barbershop for men, right?
Yeah.
They're safe spaces.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool that you can provide that to people. Because I mean, I do think safe spaces, yours definitely is, but not all are. And especially like 10, 20 years ago, I think it was a different industry and people had a different outlook on life. And so I think it's cool that we're moving into a more inclusive and just more healthy way of looking at our bodies and our
Yeah.
minds and sharing and yeah, being vulnerable with each other and that being okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hope that, you know, we continue to make great stuff in the fashion industry and that people start to see that whatever they invest in the clothing they buy, they get so much more out of it than the original investment. Right? We're trying to enhance lives, make you comfortable, make you prepared, make you look good, make you memorable, whatever you want. That's what we should be doing. And I think when we do that, it will fix some of the overproduction issues and some of the, exploitation issues, because people get exploited because we're overproducing and we got to find somewhere to make a margin. So if we can be more mindful, I just think there's a huge opportunity.
So you're saying people get exploited because the industry's overproducing. So do you have any like solution to that on the top of your head?
More mindful consumption.
Consumption. Okay. So it's
More mindful consumption. I mean, a lot of people of the retail sales floor will tell you they feel abused. And that's often by customers. Just the way that the factory worker, not just the way, but similarly, the factory worker feels abused by the circumstances they are in. We need to be more mindful towards each other. And I think that when we stop that all over the place, it allows space for the real quality skill and expertise and the best stuff of our industry to shine through. That's what I think.
Do you think in a way being online actually helps with that?
What do you mean, like more mindful consumption?
Yeah, because there's more of like somebody has to look at something and they can't really touch it and feel it, so it automatically makes them like think about it more. And also on the customer experience side, like the worker side, they don't get abused because it's just an online shop. Like,
I mean, it's certainly different. I don't know if I would say that it doesn't happen there, because I think also people have called me, hey, I was
yeah.
up late drinking. I bought a bunch of stuff yesterday. Can we cancel the order? Like they just get on their phone and they click buttons sometimes.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's crazy.
yeah, there's not a perfect system, But I do think, yes, people have a lot of information at their fingertips, and that is a gift of being online for sure. For sure.
Gift and scary too. I think it's, yeah, it comes down to whoever's holding the phone. Uh, so I love that you do say more mindful consumption, because I think as technology kind of increases and speed and you know everything with AI, and now you have the interactive shopping on your site, which I actually think is really, really cool. It does require humans to become more conscious at a higher rate too, I think. And think some I think maybe like that needs to be more of a conversation, because it's pretty
Yeah.
serious.
Well, we're having that conversation right now. I think the
Exactly.
three of us all are examples of that. I think there's plenty of other people who are examples. And, Megan, this whole thing started with you sharing how by being able to see an entrepreneur, you had a model of what to do. And I think us continuing to do what we do creates a model for other people to follow. I didn't create it. Other people have shown me this, and I have followed the way that they've done things.